Brilliant.
Who would be your favourite villain, Ad?
Now that you've opened it up to not just comic books, I can name my favourite hero and villain with one person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with, and I don't think either of you watched it. Tony Soprano from The Sopranos, obviously. If you've not watched it, I mean, he is just James Gandolfini is just, I mean, obviously passed away quite a few years ago now, but he in that series is just phenomenal. He can make you laugh, cry, hate him, love him. He can do all these things, sometimes in one scene. He is just incredible. As what you were saying about D'Onofrio, for instance, as Kingpin, obviously very different TV shows, but you follow obviously The Sopranos, being that it's about them and their mob life. And Tony is probably one of the, I would say, probably the best written TV character ever, because he feels like a real person. And real people aren't really just good or bad, for the most part. I mean, I think most of us try to be, our best version of ourselves on any given day, but we all make mistakes, and we all unfortunately upset people at some point in our lives, whether we mean to or not. But I can't say enough good things about Sopranos. I'm literally rewatching it again at the moment for like the third time, because I feel like I've watched all the other good TV shows out there, so I'm just going back to Sopranos. Anytime I run out of good TV shows, I just go back to Sopranos.
It's on the list for me. It's one that I've always wanted to watch. I've watched bits and pieces of it, but again, I think we said about this before. It falls into that trap of thinking, God, that's an investment in time. Like, and when they're about an hour a piece, aren't they? For how many seasons?
There's 6.5 seasons, and there's about 10. I think there's maybe 12 episodes per season. Yeah. But
it's doable.
Yeah, there you go. 60 hours, 3 days straight. I can do this.
It's such a great series. Honestly, it really is. I think it's 86 hours in length in total. But it's worth investment. But
what would you say?
Watching long form series and stories, that's like my thing. I love watching. Neither of you watch Game of Thrones, is that right?
No, I can't stand it.
No. Yeah. So I mean, like by me, it's like you could watch the first 3 seasons of that when it was good, and then just don't watch anything afterwards. Whereas Sopranos, for instance, is amazing from the very first episode, even though it's like the pilot, to the end. Like it's always phenomenal. It's always kicking you, basically. You just can't. But I mean, I love lots of different series like that. You've got The Wire, The Deuce is really good as well. They're both from David Simon. He also did Show Me a Hero as well, which is only a 6-part one. That was phenomenal. Really, really well acted. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even say, I mean, superheroes are my thing. They really are. But when it comes to just digesting storytelling, these sort of shows for me are just quite incredible. They really are. They really hit you,
Having picked Tony Soprano, what would you say what would make him a hero? Like, just put you on the spot. What would make him a hero, and what would make him a villain? Like, if you could pick 2 things out of the series, 2 standout things for you.
Ooh. Well, story-wise, obviously he's the lead man, so he is the hero of the story, regardless of how he's portrayed a lot of the time. He likens himself to a soldier, because people in that life are soldiers, and they all sign up to that life knowing the repercussions of what could take place if you fall out of line, if you do something wrong. So, story-wise, he is written as the hero, a bit like Walter White is in Breaking Bad, for instance. But Tony also, at the same time, he's a horrible person. He kills people. He has people killed. He if someone, I'm just watching season 2 at the moment, and there's a guy. I'm sure have you both seen Terminator 2?
Yeah.
So do you remember Robert Patrick, T1000? He's in a few episodes, and he's a guy who's got a huge gambling vice, and Tony floats him money that he knows he hasn't got, and then literally sucks his business dry. And he's a horrible person, Tony Soprano. Like, if you're on the wrong side, if you're on his business side, it's not a good place to be. But if you're, a friend or a loved one, family member, etc., then you'd love to have Uncle Tony on your side. You really would. You would. But yeah, he's just the way he's written. He's one of those characters that when you could imagine him being a real person. It's not so over the top ridiculous, and it's not so, dull and mundane. Like it strikes the perfect balance. So for me, like if we're opening it up further afield to any sort of form of media, so to speak, then I would have to go with Tony Soprano.
Cool, James. Yeah.
For hero, mine. I went a bit left field with this because I was still going. Well, I mean, let's not go down that road. We're not going there. There's a whole program about him. No, I picked what I consider to superhero is probably the wrong way, but I picked Scott Pilgrim because mainly because I watched this again recently and hadn't seen it for years. And it's an awesome film. It's not one that you've really got to concentrate on necessarily, but the concept of it, the design, the effects that they have in it. The concept is that he's, meets this girl, falls in love with her, and then has to beat her 7 ex-boyfriends to win her love, basically, or woo her. But it's almost computer game-esque as well. There's a kind of retro gaming with, and not just that, the soundtrack in the film, I'm pretty sure was a good one. Off the top of my head, that seems to ring a bell. But I just thought it was a really fun. And again, there's so many variations of superheroes, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, that you could, the obvious ones that you could pick.
You know that, right?
Scott Pilgrim.
I was about to say, I'm sure it did.
I didn't know that. No, didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a graphic novel. I'm sure. I don't know if it was. I can't remember now off the top of my head if it was told issue by issue or if they just sort of released it in one go. But yeah, it was a comic to begin with.
But even like who they cast for, I can't remember his name. Who was the lead? Was it John Cena? I think his name is it?
Yeah, John Cena. Yeah.
Like John Cena.
Not John Cena. We don't talk. Another name we don't mention on this show. John Cena.
What a different film that would have been.
Yeah, very different. A young John Cena that would have been as well.
Just juice to the gills, yeah.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have had to beat any 7. They would have been all over him as well. But he was like a geeky, nerdy sort of frail character, and then he's trying to go through all these kind of different.
Is it Michael Cera?
Maybe it is. Yeah, maybe
Michael
it is.
Cera, yeah, it's not John Cera, yeah.
Not John Cena. Not John Cena's cousin. Michael Cera. Yeah. Whatever. That guy. Scott Pilgrim. Yeah. He was awesome. That would be mine. What's yours, Matt?